everybody. What's going on? We're back for another episode of Twins Talk Tubi, and we are starting a new month. So that means we have a new theme, and we're going back and doing a documentary theme. This was fun because the last one we did was a lot of fun. We really love documentaries, especially about
Yes.
our favorite horror movies. So these are gonna be some new documentaries that we saw for this month. And today the movie that we're going to review is called Room 237, and this is basically about the Shining. So this is the premise of the documentary. Stanley Kubrick's classic film, The Shining, gets a riveting and in-depth exploration of its hidden meanings, dazzling puzzles, and conspiracy theories. Okay? And as always, we're going to give our first time reaction of the movie, and we'll do that on the count of three. One, two, three.
Oh,
Yeah. So I thought it was good.
yeah.
Um, I gotta say that I didn't really read the premise of it at first
Hmm.
before I watched it.
Hmm.
So when I'm watching it, I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be about the movie, and it's going to be interviews with some of the cast or some of the whatever producers and people really
About the making of the movie.
people really associated with the movie, like how it was when you were filming, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And when I noticed that it wasn't like that, I was like, "Mm."
Oh.
But it was interesting. So it's basically they interviewed a bunch of people, and they don't say who really they are. Like,
No, but they seem to be like a lot
yeah,
of
they're
like
like professors or
film
or or
critics and right.
professors or some kind of historians, things
Right.
like that. But they don't really say it. And that part, I was like, I wish they would have said it. Just first of all, they don't show their faces. They don't. They just show. They say that put the name of the person who's
Yeah.
talking, and that's it. Like, who is this guy? How is he? Associated with this film and in what way? Like, did he do extensive use of research on it? Did like I don't know. And in the conversation they do mention, yeah, I've been studying The Shining for a long time, but you know, it would have been nice to kind of no, I don't know why they didn't show the faces of these people.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little odd. But because they do say in the beginning of the film they had something on the screen saying this film is not associated with The Shining or Stanley Kubrick or anything.
Right.
So okay, I get it. But if these people are not associated with them, then they can show the face and they could say who they are. Sometimes they'll say the name of the person and they'll put the title or whatever under them, so Professor at such and
Right.
such
Who did?
or something.
Hmm.
And they didn't do that. So I thought that was kind of like, but it was interesting, and they did have a lot of like conspiracy theories about the film.
Yeah.
Like the way it was shot, and there was one guy that was adamant that the movie was associated or somehow with the Holocaust, and they were talking about some of the symbolism with that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, and as this documentary went on, they kept at he that guy kept adding more things. So and then in this scene or in this part, this came up again. So it keeps bringing me back to that thought that this was
It ties into
whatever. So
right.
I was like, okay, so but it was
So I didn't. So just like you, I didn't really read the premise of this before I watched it either. And I also thought that it was going to be something like you mentioned, was going to be actor interviews or like interviews with like maybe producers or stagehands or acting coaches that coach the actors or assistant directors, whatever. People that were directly associated with the making of the movie and how the movie was made and how they got cast, how they cast and things like that. So I did think it was about that too. But I still really liked it. Like I thought it was cool the way they associated a lot of the parts of the movies with things that were either going on around that time or or directly related to the era that the movie was supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And I liked how they had put things together and how I feel like they explained everything really well. So you see this in the
Yeah.
background. This has to do with such and such. And in this scene, you can see this. And when you put it together, you can see a direct, correlation with this event in history and, where they filmed the movie or something like that. Things like that. And also tying in things from Kubrick's past
Mm-hmm.
and because they talked a lot about the like the moon landing and
Mm-hmm.
how it's been talked about. I've heard it before that it was faked and it was all on a sound stage that it was all done and he also acknowledged they were also acknowledging that Kubrick also said that yes, he was part of it. He was part of creating the, I guess, like the film, and it looked like they were in space, but they really weren't, and stuff. So certain things in the movie were in connection with like the soundstage where they filmed the moon landing and things like that. And I thought that's kind of stuff was interesting, and it was like that. The whole movie was like that, and I thought it was pretty cool, especially when they were putting things together and you kind of like, oh, okay. And it seemed like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
it did make
I
me
thought it was pretty
think.
cool. I liked it. It was different than what I thought it was going to be, but I still thought it was like a different look at the movie. And I thought it was still really good.
It did make you think about things differently when you
Yeah.
watch it. I thought it was interesting too. So I think I don't know if there's actually a Shining documentary.
There might be. You just have
I'm not
to,
sure. I gotta look
I
it up.
mean,
But
I feel like all these, big horror movies and cult classic movies have more than one documentary
yeah,
about them. So I'm sure there is one out there somewhere.
and they can. And this man, by the way, this came out in 2012. This
Yeah,
documentary. So, um, yeah, I would say to check it out. I think if you're really into, if you're someone who's really into conspiracy theories, then you're gonna like this, especially
yeah,
if you like the movie or interested in, maybe some history or something from the movie,
yeah,
then you're really gonna like it. But either way, I think people should check it out and just see for themselves,
yeah.
what they think.
It was an
There,
interesting
even if you
watch.
can't, even though you don't like, I feel like even if you don't like the whole thing, and even if you think some of the conspiracy theories are bullshit, there might be like at least one thing in there, then you're like, oh, okay, I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
that could be
Like,
true
that's interesting. That's
or,
actually really
or
interesting.
something
I
like
didn't
that.
think
So I
about it
think
that way. I never saw it that way. Yeah.
you could probably get something because I feel like there was more the whole movie. There might have been some things that I'm like, I don't know about that, but
Hmm.
there were some things that I was more interested in than others. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be like that for most people that watch it. So,
Yeah.
check it out. It's again, it's streaming on Tubi, so you can check it out. It's called Room 237. And yeah, we'll be back next week for another review. And just make sure you follow us here on YouTube and subscribe to our channel, the Horror Flick Chicks. We have these reviews here streaming every week. And you can also check out our podcast. We have a podcast called the Horror Flick Chicks Podcast here also on our YouTube channel that we put out. And we have our podcast streaming on several audio platforms, so you can check us out there. And make sure you're following us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And until next time, we're Sonia and Sandra. And